Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti, hoping you guys are having a good day, and above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a new album review to do for you. It is this album right here, Neil Young, Oceanside Countryside. Oceanside Countryside was released on April 25th, 2025, through Neil Young's long-standing label, Reprise Records. The material for the album was recorded between December 11th, 1974 and September 16th, 1977. The album was produced by Neil Young, David Briggs, and Ben Keith. This album is a part of the Neil Young Special Release series for the Archive series. This is disc number 7, and this is the 1977 unreleased album preceding Comes a Time. And three of the tracks that appear on this album do appear on Comes a Time. And I'll get into the track listing right now. Now, there are 10 tracks overall on this album, split up into two sections, Oceanside and Countryside. And this is a 1000% acoustic album. The first five tracks that appear on the Oceanside section of the album, all of the instrumentation and vocals are done by Neil Young and beautifully done. I've been one to say that Neil Young's vocals for me sometimes grate on my nerves because he does tend to sing off key, and he was asked that once about him singing off key, and he says that's my thing. That's what I do. So he knew what he was doing. He just didn't care, right? He was a musician, right? So, but for me, in terms of the vocals on this album, they are done beautifully. He double tracks himself amazingly and beautifully done. Now, before I get into the track listing, this album, as I said, it's available in CD form and vinyl form. And the in CD form, it's done with an album cover replica done. Okay, and there's no special packaging. It's basically a paper cover. Inside has the CD and the lyric sheet folded up into like a poster. So very minimal packaging for the CD version of the album. Now, again, there are 10 tracks in total. Oceanside starts with the track Sail Away at 3 minutes and 49 seconds. And all of these tracks, in terms of playing time, have a playing time between 2 minutes and 52 seconds to the longest track being 7 minutes and 10 seconds. So not very long at all in terms of playing time. Sail Away starts off again, as I said, on the album. Nice harmonies, beautiful acoustic guitar on this piece, as with all the pieces on this album. Lost in Space is next at 4 minutes and 21 seconds. And in my notes, I have your sense of experimentation. Neil Young was at a point in his career in the mid 70s where he felt that he could do whatever he wanted to do, that he felt that he earned the right to record a country album, to record a folk album, um, a yodeling album if he wanted to. And all of these songs were basically him just going in the studio with, in some cases, with Lost in Space. It did kind of sound like he went in the studio with a sketch of an idea for a song and he kind of filled it in as he went along. And you know what? That's fine. I mean, it adds a sense of, again, experimentation to the piece. And he does sound like he's having fun in the studio. And he does have children singing on the choruses of this track, but beautifully done. After Lost in Space is a track called Captain Kennedy, 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Again, Captain Kennedy, lyrically, it's, to me, it's a song about introspection and reflection on one's life. Um, and I mean, I think at that point in time, Neil Young didn't want to be known for being Neil Young anymore. He basically just, went along with the hit make, I was going to say hit making machine, but he went along with the business because he had to, because he signed the contract to be a recording artist. But he really wasn't one that I felt likes being known for being Neil Young kind of thing. And songs like the next one here, Going Back, which is the first of three songs that do appear on Comes a Time. Comes a Time would be released October 21st, 1978. And going back in my notes, I have here nice textured synths on this track. And to me, lyrically, it talks about him wanting to go back to a simpler time, whether again it was him before becoming famous or known or well known, or going back to his childhood, where to him, we all think everything is simple in our childhood, and it basically is. And this song is just a beautiful, kind of like a little note to oneself, thinking or saying, "I wish things were just more simplistic than than they are now." Track five on the Oceanside portion of the album is a piece called Human Highway, the second of the three tracks that appear on Comes a Time, clocking in at 3 minutes and 11 seconds. And you might notice I have here for Human Highway, observation of human behavior. Excuse me. And he does ask the question, why do we have to be mean to one another? How can one human being be vicious or purposely mean or vindictive to another human being? It begs the question, right? Now, the other portion of the album is called Countryside, and the additional five tracks on Countryside is where Neil Young goes country, basically. All of the instrumentation on this album is acoustic. Okay, so on the Countryside portion, you have use of lap steel guitar, fiddle, but beautifully done. It's not overly done in terms of overdubs and like saturated with extra instrumentation. There's a lot of space on this album, a lot of sparseness, a lot of open spaces in the production, which I love. And it starts off the countryside section. So it starts off with the third of the three tracks that appear on Comes a Time, and that track is called Field of Opportunity, clocking in at just 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And I should also note that these three tracks, Going Back, Human Highway, and Field of Opportunity, feature Nicolette Larson on background vocals and harmony vocals on Comes a Time a year later. But Field of Opportunity is basically someone who is taking stock of his life and thinking, okay, what can I do in my life to improve where I am at or to get to where I need to get to next, whether it be romantically, whether it be business wise, or just internally, like being happy with myself. And again, beautifully done, beautifully done. Countrified, sorry, I should say, but beautifully done. Up next is a track called Dance, Dance, Dance at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Um, Again, very sparse production on this track. And it's another relationship tinged track. Up next is the longest track on the album called The Old Homestead at 7 minutes and 10 seconds, featuring the band's Levon Helm on drums. And in my notes, I have here a steady, plodding drum pattern, great acoustic guitar, and there are a lot of starts and stops on this track, well, at least three or four of them. And w there's a lot of drama in this track. And when I mean drama, I don't mean in terms of like, heavy instrumentation, like, building up to a grand peak and then stopping. But um, in terms of Neil Young's vocal delivery, it's very steady, very, very direct. He doesn't change the inflection of his voice. He doesn't reach high notes to get a dramatic effect. He sings what he has to sing about in terms of, again, an individual taking stock of their life and possibly not liking what they're seeing and wanting to change where they're going in their life. But in terms of the instrumentation, there's a lot of starts and stops in terms of they'll come to a certain point and then stop for about 2 seconds and then start up again and then stop and then start up again. Um, it's not that the instrumentation builds an intensity, but there is those little gaps here and there in the track that does add the tension and drama without being tense or dramatic overall. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Up next is a little track called, I mean, when I say little, I mean short track, 2 minutes and 36 seconds. It's a track called It Might Have Been. And this is a track dealing with an individual who is basically reflecting back on a relationship or an opportunity that could have been a relationship that presented itself. And he didn't go for it. And he's looking back on his life thinking, what would have happened if I went for it? We could still be happy today. We could have separated, but who knows? But it's an opportunity that presented itself and he didn't go for it and he's regretting it at that point. And I think we all do that. I think we all do that at some point during our lives. But again, short track, but you know what? Potent and very beautifully done. The album ends off with a track called Pocahontas at 3 minutes and 26 seconds. Again, beautiful, acoustic guitar, very intricately done, full instrumentation. But again, there's not a lot of overdubs in terms of, again, cramming every channel on the console with, instrumentation or instrumentation. Beautifully done, beautifully done. So there you have it, guys. Neil Young, Oceanside, Countryside. Again, here it is. You can get this on Amazon for like 20.99 on CD. The vinyl goes for about 31 to $33 on Amazon. You can also get it on Discogs, on eBay. You can also stream it on YouTube. So listen to it before you buy it. Again, don't take my word for it. I'm not one, like I said before, to like everything that Neil Young has done. But this album here, I like. And I think it's a strong album. And I think that if you want an album that uh, is just a wonderful collection of just beautiful songs, of heartfelt lyrics, lyrics of reflection, lyrics of introspection, this album is for you. So check it out. If you've heard of it, or have heard it yet, please let me know what you think of the album. Or and once you listen to it, please let me know what you think of the album down in the comments below. All right. That's it for now, guys. I will be back with more episodes with Bill Schuster, Ken Cheshire, and Jim Bricker, and we will bring you more shows once we get them recorded and we can get them to you as quickly as we can. All right. So please look after yourselves. Click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. And we'll see you soon with more episodes. Bye for now.